Howdy, 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 howdy. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Mic check. Why is the level... Why is the level down? Mic check. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Check, check, check. Check, check, check. I don't know why. Something seems wrong with my audio. Maybe I have to do this. Maybe I have to do this. Check, check. Check, check, check. I don't know why I'm not getting full deflection. Stand by 1 second, friends. I just want to fix this. Just have to fix this. And it's not in such an easy place to get to. How's everybody doing tonight? It's kind of a rainy night out there. Lots and lots of stuff going on. Lots of people are really, what a crazy time it is right now, right? I mean, it's check, 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 check. It's a crazy time. And I just have to configure, I have to look at one thing. Levels is 5. That looks like that's normal. I'm just going to bump that up a little bit. Put it up to about there. And I hope it's not too noisy. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Okay, well, that's as good as we got. All right, so, okay, so there's so much going on right now, right? Let me just look to see if there's anybody watching. I'm going to check the chat really quick. I just want to see. Doesn't matter if people watch or not because people will catch the playback. Looks like there might be one person watching. Say hi if you're watching. Okay. So, I want to talk about something that is such a hot topic that you can't even talk about it using real language. You have to speak about it in metaphor. Okay? So I've got a little metaphor, I've got a little story set up for you. And if I can figure out what I'm doing, I can play it for you, or I can just present it to you. Let's say that. I'm going to present it to you. But we're going to use metaphor and analogy because sometimes you can't say, the issue itself is such a third rail issue that people, they just shut you down. They can't talk to you. They won't listen because they've already made up their minds. And in a lot of ways, I believe the language is loaded. It looks to me like a psyop. Okay. It resembles a psyop. So we're going to talk about it using indirect language. We're going to use a metaphor. So, in the 1970s or something, there was a problem with Ford Pintos exploding when they had a rear-end collision. So I've created an imaginary example here where we've got 3 different types of motor vehicles. Okay, we have so we have the very popular hot dog civil, and that amounts to we're just looking at three different cars, or let's say we're in a pretend country where there's only 3 different cars available. Okay, so out of this little set of sales, okay, the hot dog civil makes up 78%. It's a good car, very reliable, economic. Lots of people like it. And then 15% of the people have bought the FARB F350. Now, the FARB F350 is like a sport utility vehicle, very large. It's not so good on gas mileage, but it's if you need to haul things, people get the FARB F350. And then the last one is the Shermy Duburban. And the Shermy Duburban is a rather luxury vehicle. It's very, very large, kind of a sport vehicle, and it only makes up 6% of the sales. Okay, so 3 cars. The hot dog Civil, 78%, very popular. So then we've been having the problem with rear-end explosions with these different vehicles, okay? And it's a big problem. So out of all of the explosions that have happened, we have 55%, over half, were the hot dog Civil. Okay? And then we had 27% of the explosions were FARB F350s. I'm just talking about the actual raw numbers. And let me actually do something, because I want to get this in front of me. Sorry, you weren't supposed to see that one. All right. So there were 60 explosions total in this time period that we did the study. There were 60 explosions total. And I'm sorry, there were 110 explosions total. Okay, 60 of them were the hot dog Civil. 30 of them were the FARB F350, shown in the red or the orange here. And then 20 explosions were the Shermy Duburban. Okay, that would made up 18%. So it was 60% or 60 explosions made up 55. We had 30 explosions here, makes up 27%, and we had 20 explosions in this one, and it makes up about 18%. Okay, you got that? And then this is just what I told you, right? So the hot dog Civil, we had 60 explosions. That's just a graph of the total. Here's 110 total explosions, and that arrow is supposed to not be there on this graph. 110. And the average is 37. That doesn't even matter in this case. But we're just looking at the raw numbers, right? 60 of the hot dog Civils exploded. 30 of the FARB F350s. See, it's half as high. And then 2/3 as high as the Shermy Duburban. This is just the raw numbers, okay? The raw numbers of exploding cars, okay? So now if we look at the rate per unit sold, and if we just use the base as the hot dog Civil, we can say that the FARB F350s were exploding at 1.7 times a greater incidence in terms of per unit sold, okay, than the hot dog Civil. And then the Shermy Duburban actually was statistically the worst of all. So that they made up the smallest number of actual sales, but their rate of explosion is 4.2 times higher than the hot dog Civil. Okay. Now, of course, ideally, we want to make sure that all of these cars are, all of these vehicles are exploding at the same rate per unit sold. If one of them is exploding a lot more than the others, maybe that indicates there's a problem with that vehicle. But this is the ideal, right? This is what kind of I think we're aiming for, okay? So now, I just want to go back to this graph for a second and just show you these are the total number of explosions, okay, out of, what do we say, 110 total explosions? This is how it breaks down. The hot dog Civil makes up 55%. And then the FARB F350 makes up 27%. And then the Shermy Duburban makes up 18% of the total number of explosions, okay? So now here's my question. What if when one of these cars exploded, like when one of the the hot dog civils explode, there's not so much of press. When there's even a Shermy Duburban explode, there's not just not so much press. But man, oh man, when a Farb F-350 explodes, it makes the news. In fact, 99% of all of the news coverage of vehicle explosions are the Farb F-350. So then what happens is there's community groups, there's consumer affairs groups that form, and they want something done about the Farb F-350 explosion problem. Something has to be done about the exploding Farb F-350s. What can we do about all of the Farb F-350s that are exploding? It's such a problem. It's such a problem. We have to do something. We have to protect the owners of these vehicles, okay? Now, remember, the Farb F-350 only made up 27%. They're kind of in the middle of the exploding vehicles. But they make up 99% of the media coverage. How do you explain that? Does that make any sense? Why, if this is the actual number of vehicles that explode, like 55, half of them are the hot dog civil. Wouldn't you think that the media would be covering? Wouldn't you think the media coverage would look like this? It would look just like this. The media coverage should reflect reality, right? The media coverage should reflect reality. Why are we getting such a skewed? What kind of an agenda does somebody have to make us think that only the Farb F-350s are exploding? Clearly, when you look at the raw data, they're not. They're not at all. And then some people say, well, it has to do with the percentage of those sold. It's the percentage of the market share sold. That's why the Farb F-350 is such a problem. Yet, if we go back and look at the rate per unit sold, once again, the Farb F-350 is kind of in the middle. It looks like if you're concerned about the rate of explosions per unit sold, we should be much more concerned, 2 times as concerned, by the explosions of the Shermy Duburban. So if you care about raw numbers of explosions, we should be caring more about the hot dog civil, because more of those are exploding, just the basic raw number. If you're concerned about the explosions per unit sold, then I can understand if people are getting upset about the Shermy Duburban. Clearly there's a problem with the Shermy Duburban. Why are we fixated on the Farb F-350? Why is everybody, there's groups, people are putting slogans on signs, and they're going to state capitals and they're talking about the Farb F-350. We have to do something about the Farb F-350 problem, because this is what the media coverage looks like. This is what the media coverage. 99% of the media coverage is of the Farb F-350 explosions. This is a problem. This is why the media has to represent reality, okay? Because we, as citizens living in a democracy, we need to understand, okay, so the whole idea of a democracy is that citizens make the decisions that impact the administration of government, okay? In order for citizens to do that in a democracy, or okay, call it a republic, I don't care. To do that, we have to be well informed. We have to know the reality of what's going on. If everybody thinks that there's a problem with the Farb F-350, but any way you look at it, you have to really mangle with the statistics to be able to come up with a cogent argument to say that the Farb F-350 has a problem. If you look at it in terms of the raw numbers, that's the hot dog civil that we should. How come we're not talking about there's 2 hot dog civils that explode for every 1 Farb F-350? How do you explain that? Why are we putting so much focus? Now my volume is hot again. Why are we putting so much focus, friends, on the Farb F-350 Why is the media? What's the agenda behind this? Behind this. I always have trouble figuring out which way to point. Behind this. What's the agenda? What's the agenda here? What is the agenda? Okay? I hope that helps. Hope you understand, friends. I hope you see what I'm getting to. I'm using an analogy here because if I use the real words, if I told you what I'm really talking about here, the actual data, people start screaming at me, banning me, telling me I should be banned, I should be blocked, I should be silenced, censored, run out of town. I'm an evil, nasty, racist, Nazi, the worst names in the book. That's what they call you if you point out the facts. These are the facts, okay? I'm talking about the facts, but I can't even tell you the facts because everybody freaks out. So I have to use an analogy. But this analogy is pretty darn close to the reality. What's the agenda for the warped media coverage? What's the agenda? Okay, that's the first segment that I have. I'm going to take a quick break and I'm going to come right back. I have to set up for the next segment. So hang in there, friends. And by the way, I always have to tell you that I work in the public interest, and I have done so for at least 10 years. I have a solid 10-year history doing environmental work, and you can see a summary of what I've done if you go to Bill Houston's fracking resume. Just type that into any browser, and you should be able to easily find my summary of my environmental work. And I really survive on donations and grants. So I really need to raise about $500 every month because my part-time job doesn't pay me enough to live on. So I do original research. I do public service advocacy, public safety advocacy, and I've done environmental work in New York, Northeast Pennsylvania. Really, and I travel. I went to Virginia to help the people fighting the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, which they just won. By the way, that's another project, another successful win, in the projects that I've had a hand in. Okay, so I don't mean to brag or boast or whatever, do this for ego, but just to know, just so that you know who is doing this work. The NGOs are not funding this work by and large. It's being done by volunteers. NGOs take the credit for it. They fundraise around it, but people like me that are out there in the trenches doing the work, a lot of times we don't get recognition and we don't get funding. So I'm asking for funding from you. And by the way, I am very, very grateful that, I was feeling really bad, just feeling unappreciated that I've done all this work for Endicott, and that Endicott, I really wasn't getting a lot of local donations, and I had a very severe financial hurt on me, and I needed to raise a lot of money. In my mind, it's a lot right now. At other times in my life, it wouldn't have been a lot, but I had to raise about $1,600 just to cover my bills. I was in a panic. I was going to lose everything, all my phone, internet, stuff in storage, apartment. The storage stuff, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Maybe that'll be the next story that I work on after the break. But I'm going to take a break. Please support the show if you enjoy it. And I'm going to come back in just a little bit. Hey, I can come back early, right? It's my show. Okay, so if you were expecting, you can rewind, you can play, you can skip around in this video if you want to. I'm thinking this is going to be a kind of a marathon stream. I have quite a bit to say, and I've been struggling to get stuff done, so I'm just going to go through these different segments that I have and try to make each one complete, and that way I can publish them as separate clips on YouTube a little bit later. Here on campus is for sale. Guess what? I announced this. Let me just check to see. When did I announce it onto Facebook? I posted it. Let me just find it. It was around a month ago, I think. Yeah. It was around a month ago. Let me just find it. Stand by. Hit the thumbs up button if you can. And if you care, hit the like button and subscribe to the Bill Houston podcast, because if you click the bell and then select all notifications, you will get an alert whenever I go live. Here it is. I first posted this, I hinted at it because I really didn't have a lot of data. June 18. It's July 11th. So about 3 weeks ago, I reported on the internet to my friends that here on campus the sale is imminent. What we found out later was that there is a memorandum of MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, that a buyer wants to buy it. So it says 2.9 million square feet here on campus. Negotiations are underway. Now, what I heard was the buyer is a mysterious LLC called Phoenix Acquisitions. So we don't have any data on Phoenix Acquisitions. We don't know too much about Phoenix Acquisitions. They're a little bit of a mysterious or shadowy outfit. I'm going to try to get rid of some of the glitter, the sprinkles. I'm sorry my chroma key isn't working so well right now. Okay. All right, so we heard there was I heard two different things, two different sources of intelligence. I can't reveal my sources because I get a lot of information from these sources, but they are well connected, and I sort of, I need to be able to report it properly. I need to get independent confirmation, which I'm still trying to get. So the two things were the MOU is with a company called Phoenix Acquisitions. If anybody has any data on Phoenix Acquisitions, there's several of them around the country. I called a couple of them and didn't find the right one. So if anybody can find out info on who Phoenix Acquisitions LLC is, I'd really be willing to, I'd be very interested in knowing that. And the other thing is that I heard that all of here on campus was put into a new business entity called Maine's Endicott Holdings LLC, and that was to somehow protect it from the bankruptcy going on with their food distribution business. Now, what's very interesting is, let me just tell you one more thing first. So, another person with knowledge of commercial real estate, let's say that. Person told me with knowledge of commercial real estate said that he or she thought that an appropriate price for here on campus A maximum price was going to be about $10 per square foot. That comes out to be about $30 million. This article by the press, by Jeff Platsky in the press, is very interesting because what it says is, let's just read it. Negotiations are underway to sell the Endicott site where IBM Corp was founded. No deal has been signed, but a letter of intent is in effect as an unnamed buyer. See, I know more than Jeff Platsky. Performs due diligence, a process real estate experts said could take up to 4 months. That's what I heard too. It's probably going to be August, September at least, before any kind of sale is going to go through. Given the size of the parcel and the complexity of the transaction, that is similar to what I heard. A potential sale is partially related to the recent bankruptcy of Maine's Paper and Food Service Corporation. The parcel, now known as Huron, is solely owned by Bill and David Maines, the primary shareholders in Maine's Paper and Food Service, through a separate legal entity from the failed Conklin-based food distribution business. The real estate was used to prop up Maine's flagging finances in 2019, according to documents. What documents, Jeff? Why don't you tell us the documents? Give us the deets. Listen to this. A $35 million mortgage signed in early 2019 hangs over the property. Proceeds from that Huron mortgage were used to pump cash into the $3 billion Maine's food distribution business, which by 2019 was bleeding nearly $30 million annually in red ink. Did you hear that? They took a note out on Huron campus, the Maines brothers, $35 million. Now, what's interesting about $35 million is that I just told you this person that I know that told me that has great knowledge of commercial real estate said they thought that $10 an acre would be an upper bound. So what does this mean? They're buying a property that's essentially worthless, because the first thing they're going to have to do is they're going to have to pay off this $35 million mortgage. What are they going to do? Buy the property for free? For nothing? They're going to pay zero? They're going to pay the Maines family zero, because there's a $35 million mortgage. In other words, the Maines family already raided this property. They raided it. They took all of the equipment out. You know, the Maines and the Matthews. The Matthews were part of they took I-3. I-3 stuff is getting out of there. They're moving that stuff out. They've been doing that for the last year or more, moving to Binghamton. They first moved to Binghamton, and then it got sold to a Wisconsin-based company. I forget. The point is, they raided. They were given this property essentially for free. You know, supposedly it was $70 million, but a lot of that money came from the state of New York and Empire Zone and tax credits and all this stuff. They basically got the money. They got the property for free. They've had it for 20 years and raided it for as much as they could. And now they're going to, they're both, who are the two? Bill. Yeah, Bill and David Maines. Bill Maines is an expat. He's gone. He renounced his American citizenship. I'm not kidding. This was a while ago. He became, he was one of the were the very first people, very first Americans that became citizens of the Grand Caymans. Let me see if I can find the clip for you really quick. Been a while since I've seen this clip. William Robert Maines. Let's see if I can call it up for you.
Businessmen Harry Chandy and William Maines have become the first people to be granted Caymanian status by cabinet since the change in the immigration law in 2005. Lawmakers voted to give the men status
Boy, okay. So, sorry, my mic was off. So, it's Cayman Compass. What's the date? The date is November 30th, 2012. First LA approved cabinet status granted. Businessman Harry Chundy and William Maines, look at that, William Maines have become the first people to be granted Cayman status, Cayman citizenship. All right, now let's listen to the report.
In the Legislative Assembly on Monday. Under the current businessmen, Harry Chandy and William Maines have become the first people to be granted Caymanian status by Cabinet since the change in the immigration law in 2005. Lawmakers voted to give the men status in the Legislative Assembly on Monday. Under the current process, applicants can apply to the Caymanian Status and Permanent Residency Board, which makes recommendations to Cabinet. If Cabinet agrees with the recommendations, the matter is then put before the Legislative Assembly. Independent MLA Ezard Miller was the only legislator to vote against giving the two businessmen status.
Okay, I don't know how long my mic has been off for. So now what we have here is we have this discharge mortgage from here on campus that was entered April 24th of 2020 with PNC Bank, and I'm looking to see if I can find any evidence of the amount. Here's the tax map. The description of the property. We'd have to trace that all out to figure out, what exact property was mortgaged. This is saying that the mortgage was paid off. The satisfaction of the mortgage. So there's several different chunks of property, and they all look like they're independently described in different parts of the tax map. So I'm just going to step through this. We don't care about this precisely right now. We do care about that, but just not right now. All of these deeds, tax map. I'm looking for something which indicates the value of the mortgage that was discharged. If I don't find it here, I'm going to go look in another place when it looks like the mortgage was actually, Let's see what this says. Accepting the reverence of the right to operate, inspect, repair, maintain, establish, and remove any of all existing public utilities in the form of streets deeded to IBM Corporation. Also accepting and reserving the right of New York State Electric and Gas to operate any existing gas mains, electrical wires, and appurtenances. Also the right water mains, bunch of deeds. There was a very interesting thing I found in looking through this. This is the Broome County clerk website, Go BC Clerk. You can find a lot of interesting information. You just type in somebody's name of a company, tells you all kinds of different information about if they're parties to a lawsuit or anything like that. Different property transactions. More tax maps. It's really complicated. Let's skip some. Let's go to page 50 and see what's there. Is it more tax maps? Broome County tax maps. Beginning of the point westerly of let's go to 70. It looks like all the same stuff, really. Yeah. Just gonna keep stepping through it. I'm not finding anything that has the value of the mortgage that was. This is interesting. Division line between the lands now or formerly of Kevin Conklin, Molly Conklin, Benjamin Linville and Michelle Linville, John Mangan, Joseph Mangan, Terry Risen, Jenny Booza, Elizabeth Booza, Thomas Jones. Custom assemblies. A lot of history here, a lot of this has been going on for a lot of years. I'm going to skip straight to the end. Okay, so there's nothing really here. Here's a related. This is the mortgage. January of 2019. It says this is related. So let's see what this says. Huron Real Estate Associates. The other party is PNC Bank. Recording fee. Ooh, yes. Oh, yes. 30. It looks like 300. Okay, mortgage tax base. Okay, mortgage tax. The basic is 150,000 plus special additional is 75,000 plus local is 75,000. The total is $300,000. It's a mortgage. Mortgage tax. I'm not sure. I wish somebody could explain to me what I'm looking at. Hinman, Howard, and Cattell. Joseph Mihalko, he's the clerk. And I'm not a mortgage expert. Second lien, mortgager, whereas Maine's Paper and Food Service Corporation, organized under the laws of the state of New York, Maine's Paper and Food Service of Tennessee. Look at all of their subdivisions. Wow. State of Delaware. Yeah, they all incorporate in Delaware because that's where the laws are the least strict. Mortgagee. This, I think, is going to have some... Ooh! Whereas pursuant to the provisions of the loan agreement, mortgagee and lenders have made inter alia certain financing available to borrowers and the maximum principal amount not to exceed $160 million. 160. Do you see that right here? Wow. Oh boy. I have to... make that a little bit bigger so you can see it. 160, the loan maximum principal amount. Isn't that weird? Whereas the maximum principal amount of indebtedness secured by this mortgage is $30 million. So it looks like the bank is saying that the property is worth, this was in 2019. That's a joke. 160 million. Based on 160 million property, they borrowed 30 million. Maximum secured principal. There it is. This is the loan that Jeff Platsky was talking about. I don't know. I've seen this here, and I don't know why I didn't look into the details of it before. So there's the $30 million loan that they took out. Now, I wonder if, 95 pages. Y'all ought to go BC Clerk and look this over because I don't know all this stuff. I'm not a mortgage guy. I'm sure... you all people can, figure this stuff out. But isn't it interesting that the mortgage was paid off? $30 million was paid off in April 24th of 2020. How did they pay it off? How did they pay it off? It looks like it was paid off. I wish I could just download the whole PDF of this, but I think you have to print or download. Let's see if maybe I can download the whole PDF. Do I have to pay? Let me see. All images, print or download. Liverpool info quick solutions, $1.90 one document, $1.90. Well, I'm not going to give it to him right now because you can go through this thing and you can read the whole thing for free. And I've captured these before, but they just give you a little. It's a pain to capture it. So they're just. It's good that they give it away for free. This crappy version, but I wish you could just download the whole document so you could have it and do keyword searches, that kind of thing. I'm sure there is interesting things here for people that know mortgages, commercial mortgages. So there you have it. This is basically the story I wanted to present to you is that the Press and Sun has reported that the property is for sale. We told you this here at the Bill Houston podcast about 3 weeks ago. We knew this was coming. We got a tip, and we're still looking for information about Phoenix acquisitions, and also I can't find any record that this property was placed into a different business unit. I can't see that, but I got this. This came from a very reliable source. And maybe it was, sometimes they give out information that's bad in order to sort of try to figure out where the source came from. So maybe that's bad information about the Matthews. It's called it's called the Maines Endicott Holdings LLC. That's what I was told. I don't know. I don't know what's right. We did find evidence of this $30 million loan. They said the whole property was worth $160,000. That is dreaming. Now let's just look really quick. PNC Bank National. Let's figure out who the heck these people are. Okay. Attorney in fact. I don't want to read through this whole thing this way because it's just a pain. So let's just do PNC Bank. I just want to see who the board of the directors are, if we can learn anything about PNC really quick. See who board. Board of directors. I didn't spell it right, but that's okay. Let's see if we recognize any names. Let's see if we recognize any names, any of these folks, these fine folks. Joseph Alvarado. Joseph Alvarado. Commercial Metals Company. Charles Bunch, PPG. What's that? Procter and Gamble. What's PPG Industries? What is PPG? There was the PPG wave synthesizer in the 1970s. I don't think that's it. Pittsburgh Paints. Pittsburgh Paints. Okay. All right. So we're still going through the board of directors with my super slow computer. Deborah Cafaro, chief executive of Ventas Inc. Okay. Marjorie Rogers Cheshire, chief executive officer of A&R Development. I mean, it would take a while to sort of dig into all of these people. Andrew Feldstein, Richard Harshman, Allegheny Technologies Corporation, Daniel Hess, former CEO of Sprint. Boy, this is an all-star cast. Retired Brigadier General of the Air Force. Look at that. Linda Medler. There's not too many Brigadier Generals that are women. L.A. Medler and Associates. Martin Finsgraff, former Deputy Comptroller for Large Bank Supervision, Office of the Comptroller of Currency. Wow. Is that a Fed? I think it's a Fed job. Tony Towns Whitley, U.S. Regulated Industries at Microsoft Corp. Michael Ward, CSX. Wow. Let's look at the executive team. That's the board of governors. I didn't recognize any of those people. Although, if you chase down all the links, I'm sure you're sure to find some interesting connections there. Okay. All right. Executive team. Demchak. Robert Riley, Vicky Henn, Gregory Jordan, Stacy Chukno, Karen Larimer, Michael Lyons, William Parsley, Joseph Rocky, Stephen Van Wyck. So these guys put up the financing, $30 million on Huron campus back in January of 2019, and it looks like it was paid off in April of 2020. I have no idea where the money came from to pay this thing off, but it looks like it's been discharged. Very curious. That's it, friends, for this segment. I just wanted to bring you the latest update on the ownership status of here on campus. And I'm going to, my computer is frozen up. My computer has frozen. Frozen. Okay, we're back. My computer was all frozen up there for a minute. I have way too many tabs open. Okay, so I'm going to check the chat really quick and see if anybody is watching. See if anybody is chatting. See if anybody is chatting in the live stream. I don't see anything. I'm going to try to reload this window. Okay. I still don't see anything. I might have to kill my browser in order to free up some memory. I might have to kill my browser. Hi there, Brett. Okay, it's about an hour 15 in, and this I hear no sound, but lips are moving. Now it's on. Sound again. You seems like when you show a video, it mutes your mic. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I have to manually. It's a tech issue, Brett. I'm sorry about the mic going out. Me having to. Stand by, friends. Okay. So, let's get rid of... Okay. So, that segment is over. I'm sorry for the audio issues. I've got some crazy computer issue, and I turned my mic off in order to try to get around it. I'm not sure what's causing it. I'm just not going to be able to continue doing the stream until I might have to shut the stream down and come back, because I might have to shut the stream down because my computer is really lagging, and I think the stream is getting interrupted. So, going back to the chat, if it comes up for me. I don't know what I can do with my computer. I don't think I can add more memory to it. I think I'm maxed out. I think I'm maxed out on my computer memory. Yep. I'm sorry for this, friends. I might have to do just a produce segment and upload it later. I'm having a lot of difficulty with this stream right now. So, I'm going to end the stream, I think, friends, because I'm having too much trouble. I'm going to shut it down, and I'm going to record offline, and I'm going to come back, and I'll have some segments for you by Sunday. Okay, friends, we'll talk to you later. Please subscribe to the Bill Houston podcast on YouTube. Very, very important. If there's my email address, if you want to email me, there's my snail mail, William Houston, P.O. Box 22, Endicott, New York 13761. See you next time.